Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video. This is going to be a little bit different from my usual videos, as this is going to be more of a tip and trick, something that I've learned over my sim racing career. I mean, if you can even call it a career, but it's something I think is super important if you guys are trying to just get faster on sim racing, and it's something that a lot of people really don't think about. It kind of goes over their head, and that is basically adjusting your brake pedal to the correct force feedback. Now, before we jump into the tip, if you guys really enjoy the content, hit that like button, help us out in the YouTube algorithm, or hit that subscribe button down below if you want to catch more content, or not. It's your choice. So this tip is very, very important, especially if you don't have it set up right. Now, if you guys are on the control, this tip might work out for you, but if not, I'm sorry. You guys can see your way out. It's not going to really be a really good tip for you if you guys are using the controller. But if you guys are using the wheel, this is the spot. This is the place where you're gonna learn some new things today. This is something that actually was brought to my attention from a Twitch streamer named Cyrus. If you guys don't know who he is, then I don't know what you're doing with your life, because he's probably one of the best Gran Turismo streamers on Twitch. But one day we were racing and he brought up a very good point when it came down to a load cell pedal versus a non-load cell pedal. Now, one big advantage that a lot of people have with the load cell pedal is that you're able to basically really fine-tune on how much braking you're putting in compared to a pedal that doesn't have the load cell in it. And it's very important, because if you think about it, the more you have control over the brake pedal, the faster you're going to be on your lap times, because where you're gaining majority of your lap times, not only that, where you're making majority of your overtakes, is going to be through the braking zone. And if you don't have a way of controlling your brake through the braking zone, you're basically just losing a bunch of time through the corners, and it's just going to slow down your lap. And not only that, it's going to be a lot more difficult to get overtakes done when you're racing against people at a higher level. That's a bit more difficult to explain it without actually showing you a diagram, so we're going to actually jump into the FANATEC settings, and I'm going to show you guys what I mean by adjusting the brake force to the correct force so that you can maximize your braking when you go through the corners. All right, so we are here on the FANATEC setup, and we're going to jump right now into the pedal. So this is my brake pedal and my throttle pedal settings. Actually, it's not adjusted to the right spot. It's actually usually right here at 84%. This is where I like to have my brake pedal, and it allows me to put in 100%, but also adjust where I'm going when it comes to brake travel, and it just allows me to trail brake into the corners a lot easier than if I were to have it at a higher brake force or lower brake force. This is about the sweet spot that I like. Now, if you guys are wondering why it's so important to have a good sweet spot when it comes to the brake force, is because when you have a higher brake force and you're able to have a lot more travel, let's say this much more travel, it's a lot easier to keep it within a realm of a percentage that you want your braking to be at. So let's say that I want to have it at 80%. I can just push the brake pedal to about 80%, and it's a lot easier to hold it around that area than if I were to have a lesser brake force. So if I put it down to the least amount of brake force I can put into the brake pedal, it's a lot more difficult to put it to that 80% and keep a steady 80%, as it just wants to move around by the slightest of centimeter movements. And if I were to put in a higher brake force, it's a lot more easier to put it to the desired brake force I want it at and just hold it there. So you can see I'm putting it right there at about 80%, and it's a lot easier to keep it around that 79, 80, 81% than if I were to put it at a very, very low brake force. And now you can see I'm already messing up as it is. I'm putting it at 100%. I'm just trying to get to 80%. And I'm messing out a lot. Now, it could probably get better if over time, the more I get used to a low brake force. But if you want to maximize your load cell pedals, or you just want to maximize the trail braking, you want to keep it at a place where you're able to just easily jump around. So if I want to get to like 50%, there's 50% right here, and I can kind of hold it at 50%. And then if I want to release it slowly down to like a 20%, you can see that slowly going down gradually to the 20% mark. And if I want to put more, let's say I want to go up to 75%, I can just easily put it up to 75%, just hold it around that area. And if I were to do it on a lower brake force setting, it's just a lot more difficult to jump around like that. So let's try it again. So 80% here. Now let's jump down to 25%. You can see that I'm like all over the place, and it's very, very difficult to keep it around the 25% mark. And then, you know, you can see it's jumping from like 10 to 30% very, very quickly, and that's something you really don't want. You want that unpredictability of having the brake force just being jumping around. But now if I put it to 50%, you can see that's I'm messing up as it is. I'm jumping all the way up to 100 because, you know, the smallest amount of travel goes from about 25% to 100%. So it's very, very difficult to do. So that's one thing that I highly recommend you look into when you guys are adjusting your brake force, and it might actually gain you guys about a good couple of tenths, maybe even a second, or maybe you just become the fastest driver in all of iRacing, Gran Turismo, or whatever sim platform you're racing on. I'm actually going to show you guys a side-by-side example of me going through Okayama in the GT3 BMW, and just show you the comparison of how much brake force can factor in on just the amount of speed you can carry through the corners. But not only that, the stability that you can have going in through some of these corners. So we're gonna hop into it right now. But yeah, when you compare between both of them, if you guys go back and watch the gameplay, you can actually see that I'm really struggling with the brake pedal just to kind of get it into the corners. And I actually, with the 85% force on the brake pedal, I didn't even practice for that. That was actually my first lap around the track, so I probably could have gone faster if I would have had practice. But the lap with the 0 brake force, that was actually done after about 4 to 5 practice laps, and that was the best I was able to get through that sector. So you can see that even with a lot of practice on the 0% force feedback, it was just, like I said, night and day in my opinion. And I think it's just a lot more quicker when you have more force onto the brake pedal, because you're able to control the car a lot better. And again, that's where you're gonna be making majority of your time, is on the braking zone through the corners. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this tip. Maybe you guys knew about it, maybe you guys didn't. Let me know if it helped you out. And if you guys really enjoy the content, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button down below. Anyways, hope you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.